World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Jana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
She was told that she couldn't play with the boys. She was told that they were too big, too rough, too strong. She was told to give up her dreams and move on. She was told to just be pretty, be quiet, be a lady. She was told that women had to stay on their side of the court, stay in your lane. Playing and competing with men wasn't the same. She was told that men and women would never be equal. Dreaming like that would only be linked to your mind, to your soul. She never listened. She knew that their thinking was old. She is magic. She is the definition of spirit. She is what champions are made of. She is now.
Well, greetings and welcome to another session of Access Wealth Nation with Dr. Jana B. Woodhouse, giving you that checkup from the neck up where you can then become your own person and you're financially free. So today we've got a wonderful guest, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but I want to share with you some of the things that we provide for you here. So, of course, those of you who have asked, I hope you all have received your books. Most of them, we've mailed them out. We got another set to go out, but it's How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker. Okay, written by two of my associates, Tom Matthews and Steve Siebold. And then, of course, by two other of my associates who wrote the book, How Money Works for Women, Take Control or Lose It. And that was done by Kim Schooler and Sharon Lecter. And so if you'd like the book, number one, you have to promise to read the book. And then you send me an email with your address to Anaj Enterprises, Inc. That's ANAJENTERPRISES @gmail.com and say you want the book. And we will send that book to you. The only thing I ask you to do is read the book. Once you've read the book, I've had some great responses from you all that you have not only read the book, but taken pictures. So I'm going to start to post some of the pictures of people reading, exercising, talking to folks, using it for a book club, whatever the means necessary to be able to get this information to folks. That's my goal and my dream. So that's one element that we have here for you. The other is that once you've read the book, and of course, it's so important that you know where you are and where you're going. So a person without a plan is planning to fail. So we give you that opportunity for a plan with no obligation. The only obligation is to thy known self be true. So you have the opportunity by calling our office at 646-375-2121. And that you will receive what's called the discovery call, which is a financial analysis to see where you're at and then learn where your number is. You know, I've talked about this continuously on the show, is what is your number? The number that you need to reach your own financial freedom. You know, when I sit with folks and they tell me, I just want to be wealthy. What does that mean? How much is that? You need a number. You need to focus. You can change it later, but the key is that the more important part is to have that action. And once you read the book, it's going to entice you to do something for yourself, but not only for yourself, but for your family. And that's what's more important is that we build legacies, change the tone to our community. So it's very important. And I'll say to you all, if you get an opportunity, share this video with others, share the knowledge. You know, getting the knowledge is one thing, acting upon it is the other. And last but not least is to share so that others can be in that same position as you are. And it can be done. So I'll say that that's one of the biggest things for us right now. We've got a few things heading out to the end of this year. Can you believe it? We're in December. In the month of December, we should be planning for what we're going to do. Some of the things, and I will be talking probably on the next show about you looking at your W-2 forms, taking in a grasp of how your retirement plan, what does it look like? If you have questions, please feel free to reach out to Ask Dr. Jana at soulcity.me. That's ask, A-S-K, Dr. Dr. Jana, Jana. I know because I'm saying this and I'm reading it out because we also are broadcast through WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. And I want everybody who's listening to the radio show to know that they can send me an email and ask questions. We will review it. Don't make it too personal. Okay. Can't go personal, but some general things like, let's say, for example, you really don't understand how the 401k plan is working. Or you just want to know, how can I save more? Or I got this insurance policy and it says XYZ on it. Can you help me? These are some of the things that we can answer, so go to Ask Dr. Jana at soulcity.me. We're just now implementing this program because we recognize I get people to ask me questions after the show. I would love to be able to bring that because if you have a question, it's almost guaranteed that someone else has that same question or is thinking about it, just a little bit apprehensive to reach out and to ask that question themselves. So you may be not only helping yourself, but you're definitely helping others. Starting for the new year, for 2024, can you imagine that? 2024, we will be having some specific workshops on financial literacy covering the 7 money milestones. And if you don't know what they are, you need to start to look more on this show. We have archive shows of what's going on in the financial world. This should be fun for you, but we need to start to save. We need to set up our emergency funds. We need to set our budget. I know I just cursed budget. People don't like to hear about budget, but budgets are so important because then you'll know where you are and what you need. What's your number? So I just say to you, these are some of the things. Listen, stay tuned because we are going to have a lot of financial literacy seminars coming about. And I'm looking to do a major financial literacy program at the new hotel in Harlem, the Marriott Renaissance at the Victoria Theater. Y'all didn't know that, huh? There's a new hotel. And you need to walk by, stop by, and look at it. It's a true tribute to Harlem. And so, take that time. There's going to be a lot of events running there, some filming there by Soul City. Of course, we're broadcast through the Soul City network, and you can see us on all the major Comcast, Roku, and Verizon, but in addition to it, Facebook and YouTube. So knowledge is out there, and we need to embrace upon it so that we can make a difference in our lives. If we know better, we'll do better. Not everybody agrees with me on that, but I believe it, because once you know better, then you can do better. And if you don't, then it's your fault. It's all on you. So that being said, I remember back in those long days of going to my master's program, I had a professor that said something very poignant that stuck with me. And he said that if you are studying to become a master, then you don't have to get a job or do it for getting a job. You are now at the point of making jobs, making a difference. Now, that's important because we're in a world now where entrepreneurship is so important. And it doesn't matter what level you're going on, it's to get started with it. So I say that to say is that I remember that he also said to us that your job is to find a problem, then find the solution, and then get somebody to pay you for it or create it. That's what true passion, true focus, true entrepreneurship is about. So I want to take this moment because this is a phenomenal gentleman that I'm bringing on, and I just got to meet him a few weeks ago. It's a whole story of how we came about, but it's all in divine order and divine intervention. And so I'm going to bring on my new brother from another mother, who has a program that's in Connecticut, which I'm hoping that this program flourishes worldwide. And the program is called Second Chance Reentry Initiative Program, SCRIP. And the leader, founder, CEO, board of directors of the board, everything that you can possibly be, is this gentleman who has a phenomenal story, Mr. Edward Andrews.
Thank you.
Just all laid back. What happened? We just lost him again? Where is he? Okay. I don't know what happened to my guest. Okay, here we go. There we go. Okay, I thought I had lost you. Well, dear Mr. Edwards, Mr. Edward Andrews, I just think you are phenomenal. And, people don't tell people that often. And I don't really see it much often, but I see the brilliance of what you have done. And it's a very important situation for our community. There are people who have been incarcerated, they come out and they have no direction. Well, they need to go visit SCRIP because there's direction there. So I'd like you to take this moment and tell us about SCRIP. And where did it come from? Because this was your passion. As I've talked to other people, they've told me that this was your passion, your drive. So tell us a little bit about what SCRIP is about.
Dr. Woodhouse, I'd like to first thank you for that introduction and having me on this show today.
You're welcome.
Um, from a person who had humble beginnings, because of underlying factors, I had ended up in prison facing 85 years. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, Red Hook Projects, and I went to Connecticut with that type of baggage on me, which means those underlying factors. And so I was sentenced to 33 years. And in those 33 years, I had, that's when my spiritual awakening came, or whatever you want to call it. And I was trying to sleeping with my boots on and looking at somebody who looked like me with venom and hatred. And I just wanted to know where all of that came from, you know. And that spiritual awakening came, it was coming from something that I was challenging. My challenges was in my upcoming. Um, and so, to make a long story short, um, as I start loving myself, I start loving my neighbors. And with that said, for like 18 years, 17 years in prison, I've been my brother's keeper, um, helping guys getting their GEDs, because I heard a lot of teachers marking at guys who was like our age that couldn't read or write past the third grade. So I volunteer all my services as an academic tutor and on addiction service, on mentor.
Mm.
And the beautiful feeling is to see our kind evolving and making a difference.
You know, the real deal is that you really saw the problem and you sort of lived the problem. And then you found solutions. Is participating in the program for myself, which I considered a God blessing, to be able to talk to folks to get their financials together, and it's not hopeless. And that's what I saw in this program. You have a few different types of programs going at the same time. It's an initiative. And I don't have to say this any other, I have no other way to say it to the audience is that when you're incarcerated and you've been through, then it gets even worse when you come out. I know that because I have had associates and friends from blue collar crime to white collar crime, and they're not the same. But having someplace to go and someone to give guidance, like you have something that I wanted you to sort of explain. There's something called the Ascend program.
Yes. So we call it a sin because a sin is it's a metaphor of going up from the
Yeah.
darkness, from prison, and all of that. It stands for academic, social, career development, um, expert mentoring development program.
Okay.
That's my core program. What happened is it's a 15-week program. When guys come in, we automatically try to deal with the trauma. When we talk about the urban trauma, we talking about there's three components to urban trauma that many of us don't know about. It's the biology,
Okay.
the history, and our environment. It's when you get into it, not like I'm teaching you something like you don't already know, but it's like crazy how social determinant and let you know where you live, what kind of services you get, and all this. So all of the got learned that all of this was set. This was all planned, and we fallen victim to this plan. So I learned how to think outside of the box. My years in prison, when everybody was going to a gym, most of the time I had to carry around a dictionary and understand the language that I'm forced to be around, so to speak. But I had to just step up. It's the passion that I have for my. When I love myself, I just had a lot of passion for my peoples, and so this is where I developed the script. It's because when you come home, they want us to go ahead and get a job. This is that band aid. They're not dealing with why we make these poor choices. What's the
Hmm.
underlying factors of why we make these choices? They all call us, saying bad guys, even when the recidivism, not knowing that we did the best we can. We coped with it the best we can. We didn't have this type of understanding, this type of treatment of dealing with trauma. Trauma is a big thing in the black community. And we talking about it goes back from slavery. That RFP, that FPK5 gene is still existing us today, and we don't know about it. And that gene, they want to make us is an untreated symptom of trauma, and it makes us just flare out. Or, if you're dealing with poverty, you're dealing with you seen crime, you're a victim of a crime. Um, a lot of that is combined to this trauma that we deal with. So during the 15 weeks, 8 weeks of that, we have licensed clinicians that facilitate our evidence-based curriculum.
Mm.
And then they do one-on-ones with the EMDRs. And once a week, it's mandatory that you got to sit down, sit down with the EMDR. You don't know how much transformation that these guys have when they have somebody who could sit down and listen to them, who they could trust. And then we got like you coming in with the financial literacy, and then after that, the last part of the last phase is the career development.
Got it. So now, is this, I know the answer, but I'm going to ask, is this just for men?
No, it's more for women too, because I mean we all need it. I'm still seeing my therapist. It's not like I'm out of the woods. It's serious.
Well, the thing is that, there's nothing wrong with therapy, but, I have a friend of mine and client, Vladimir Kalixi, and it's just blown up her business. She does therapy for Black men because it's known that Black men are the least served in therapy.
Because of that hyper masculinity that we carry.
Mm.
Everybody put on this mask. It's due because our environment upcoming. We put on this mask. We don't want to show nobody our vulnerability, and then we not ourselves. You know, we don't really hate ourselves. We don't really hate ourselves. We just never learn how to love ourselves.
Right. Well, there's one thing that's the Grand Lodge of Wa'at in ancient Kemet. It said, "Man, know thyself," and we do need to know ourselves. You brought up a very key. I tell you, every time I talk to you, you bring up something that sparks an energy in me, and it's about the fact of history, knowing our story, knowing where all of this comes from, how much of it is really, like Dr. Francis Wellington says, is that it's part of our DNA for all the abuse that we've been through. And we just want to get peace. I saw in your facility, there's a section that's just for peace. And I said, yeah, we all are seeking that peace. But in this, I noticed that you had some other things that was part. You have also an element because this is a nonprofit. So how can people really help this initiative? And what is your thoughts? We're going to get to that question too about going forward in the future, because this is just a little group, but this needs to expand across the country. So that being said, how can people really help?
By going to www.scriptconnect.org. But one of the things that I failed to mention is the residential place that we have. I don't call it a halfway house, nor do
Hmm.
I call it a sober house. I don't try to follow these people who. It's not like I'm racist or nothing. I'm not putting it out there. It's just that I don't follow their trend. If you follow their trend, you're gonna get the same results. That's like this says insanity thinking. So we call it a development center.
Oh.
What's included in that is for the first four months, you can't do nothing. We don't want you to work. We're giving out gift cards once a month, but we got these wraparound services that we know that could impact you, so you can invest in yourself. We
Mm.
got a sexuologist. We have meditation, yoga. We have addiction services. We have financial literature, career development, the trauma intervention, and they always sit with one. They do 101s with the EMDRs, and we also got a nutritionist that come in there and cook lunch and dinner because being away for 22 years, I'm fighting for my life right now internally because of that food we have to subject ourselves to eat, and then we got a physical trainer. So we do that from 8 in the morning to 8 at night, full blast for 4 months, and then after the fourth month, we'll have these guys already a job ready for them, a career job, and then we just try to assist them with some an apartment, studio, or what have you.
So you take them from not only coming out and getting themselves together, but then you wind up finding them jobs. How does that work? Because we've always known that a lot of the things are stifled because once you have that scarlet letter, that, stigma on you, what do you do to get these jobs?
Through the grace of Allah, through the grace of God, I was able to get these resources that assist us with that, And I'm talking about jobs in the hospitals. I'm talking about jobs in the warehouses and start these guys off with a nice chunk of cheese because let's fix the facts. When guys come home and they don't address their trauma, we want to go out with a big chest, let nobody know I did my time, I did that. You know what I'm saying? We still want to come home, but we're not knowing that we get more aggressive while we locked up, and when we come home, they want you to get a job. But sometimes when you get these guys jobs, it triggers them. A lot of them, a lot of guys in jail because they was getting high. They just, when you're in jail, you play with the weights or barber, and then you forgot what you came in there for, and so by you just getting a job, it's just putting a band-aid on it. So we like to go under the surface and let you know what's really going on. Me serving 22 years, I didn't even know I was suffering from both my parents had passed away in the same year, in the same room, in the same hospital, 4 months apart. And I was like 18 years old. You know what I'm saying? I got shot in two different accidents. And when I got shot the last time, my mother, was in the hospital dying, you know what I'm saying? So I was holding all of that inside. And, once you know about the data says once you see or be a victim of something, then you
Yes.
become that person. And I'm facing 85 years for some things I'm not proud to say, man. But through the grace of God, I have this second chance.
And that's what it's about, is the second chance.
Yeah. I think the new move is just getting treatment for your trauma.
Mm.
That's the new move out here. So you can
And I like
understand.
the fact that you change the words, because there's a power behind words. And I didn't realize what that, with the fact of not calling it a halfway house, but it's really true, because you're not halfway. You got to get whole way. You got to get to know who you are. That's a powerful piece. And yeah, I know, I'll speak to it is that sitting with the young men and women talking about financial literacy, I sat there in that class and it didn't even think about the fact that these people had been through incarceration or trouble or whatever, because their spirits were so leveled and peaceful that they wanted to do something and do whatever's necessary. And when I started talking about life insurance, which is one of the legislators, I was so glad. I mean, you just link people. So one of the legislators, she was there, one of the state legislators, and brought forth something I didn't know all these years, that if you had a felony, there's a good chance you can't get life insurance. But all it did was send me on a realm to get out here to find the truth. So I've talked to our product providers. Before I start my next session, I will have the product providers that will provide life insurance, because that didn't make any sense to me. How can you not allow someone who is out here in this world get life insurance?
Serious. It's just serious. On day, since 2019, I developed the program, and right now, as they came and did their evaluation on the program, we have a 86 86% of guys remaining home, and a 64% of guys remaining with their jobs.
Wow, that's awesome. That is awesome. Well, I know a lot of it has to do with also what you provide for them, the structure. Because while I was there in those classes, there was no joke. You walked in and it was total respect that, give to this project and to listen. And I'm impressed with what you've done there, definitely. Now, I know this was your dream. What really got you to do this? I know you were in prison. I've heard the story about the fact that you were passionate about this while you were in prison. So, what was it? What spurred you?
It's just like that onion being peeled. Like I had to face the reality that I ain't never gonna see my moms again. And what my moms was instilling in me, the street the street robbed me from it. And so, I wanted to put it in her name, honestly, because the pastor she gave me, she makes sure I ate well. She makes sure that I try to, say, have a decent job, get some type of training, go to school. And so all of those elements I try to put it in the program and try to let those who want to come through it to benefit from it and make a change in their lives.
That is just phenomenal. I see the possibilities, and like I said, as I saw the program, and like you just said, it's not just about um, one mindset. You've got the yoga, the health going on. I mean, there's so many elements to this. Are there any things that you see coming forth for the next 5 years that you want to see happen with SCRIP? Where do you see SCRIP?
Right now, what that big project we are working on right now. So it's a campus. So it's a campus whereas we can do more than what we're doing now, and we do it for our community. Like some add-ons would be like culinary art because a lot of these guys they love to eat. I feed them well, but they relax when they eat good meals. You know what I'm saying? And can't nobody concentrate if they're hungry, and that's just a part of our society. How is it set up? Um, and you understand about the red lining as well, right? The red lining is almost like the social determinant. Red
Yes.
lining is where Jim Crow came with this, saying this setup. Whereas red lining, when you got poor medical, poor, all of this stuff like all of these dollar stores, you know. And then if you do the green lining, they got the healthy stores. I mean, the healthy food and all of that. So, it's a lot of things that we just got to be aware of and stick together. Because in unity, there's strength.
Yes.
Diversity, there's knowledge. But in separation, there's that intent to be conquered or eventually destroyed.
That is just so true. And I mean, the thing is that, and I'd like your opinion on it too, is, they say that our children get targeted by the time they reach 8 years old in the school. And you mentioned about the fact of reading, education. Do you believe that this is one of those? I mean, we're seeing it every day that our children are taken into these facilities, uh, juvenile hall, all that stuff, and why? What can we do to stop it? Because right now you get them at the level of once they've already been incarcerated. So what happens to the group if we can catch them before?
I mean, that's the Youth Rise program. We get them before they go in. We show them examples of guys who just come home doing 30 years, doing 40 years,
They get to
Oh,
interact with them. Those
at
that.
times, yes, because those youth from 14 to 24, they need more intense care, and once they see guys with those lived experiences come through, and not nobody who on a high horse who think they know it all, that won't work. It's the guys who got to be humble and know that we grateful that we out here because the way the system want us to be they don't want to see us out here, but we're making an impact. This is not a moment. This is my movement.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you do have some way that we can capture our children, because if we can stop them before they even get taken in, I know with my godsons, I talk about it all the time. I tell them their godmother was crazy. So you do not want to be on the street. You don't want your pants hanging down. You don't want your hat turned down, because your godmother is crazy. She will act crazy on the street. So she will make sure you want your pants down. She'll pull them down for you. So that respects of what happened. I had to do the tough love. I said, your parents got some sanity. I have none, because I want to save your life. I don't want to have to go and bail you out of something. I want you to be free. And they're great. They're great. It was tough, and they're doing well, thank God. But I looked at that and said, there's some things that our children are exposed to now that is so different than when I was coming up. This world of computers and all of that stuff. So that's one of my questions also. For someone who has been incarcerated for a length of time and not exposed to this computerized world, is there like a computer class for them? Is there something that they can get catch up on?
That was a good question because when I first got out of prison, I spent went to Manchester College, and then the president of Springfield, she seen an article they had on me, and she got at me right away, told me to come to Springfield College, and I went to Springfield College. I just started crying because um how the media portrayed me before I went in. I didn't think deep inside that I belong around these kids like that,
Mm,
And I just started pouring out crying. And then when the professor asked me when I sat in class, I want to just say I want to go out the back door, so to speak. And I said I don't think I belong here. She said, "What's your name?" I gave her that. I provided her with that, and then she said, "Yes, you belong here. You can sit down." And my first time having a laptop, I didn't know I didn't know nothing about it, So I have some students that was very helpful and that's was assisting me with learning it. So from that point on, I said when I did the program, I'm handing out tablets
oh,
because this is the new, this is the second nature out here. Like this technology,
yeah.
and so we handed that out, and we have the professors that contracted with me to show them how to use the tablets and how to resumes, how to look for jobs, just the basic stuff really. And everybody learning, they growing. Like the thing that moves me is when I see them learning and enjoying it and engage.
Mm, mm-hmm.
And I just think that is how you come at us because we already think that we low. We already think that you're gonna look at us as if we're low, and then when we come and get that assistance, it means a lot to us. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of us still got that manipulation attitude, but unless you know urban trauma, you'll be biased with that individual who you think that's trying to get slick on you. But you need to know about the urban trauma because urban trauma, that's one of the characteristics of urban trauma, manipulations.
Mm.
So
What are some of the other elements of urban trauma? This is the first time I've really heard this as described as urban trauma. Did you create that term?
Nah, Dr. Akbar has. She originally from Guyana, Brooklyn, and but she's like a big time out here in Connecticut. Now she international with the
Mm-hmm.
her name is Dr. Massa Akbar. We started off. She was right on my right. She was like my right hand person when I first was released from prison.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't remember all of it. I don't want to put myself out there, but I know
Okay.
manipulation, um, manipulation, anger,
Mm.
trust, um, yeah, you know.
Those are some powerful pieces right there because you want to get what you want and what you see what someone else has, so you do what that's one of the things that I think that people outside of our community don't really get it is that there is a trauma. There is the whole element of how do I not get back into this whole system that y'all have created for me.
So the six characteristics
Mm-hmm.
is anger,
Okay.
mistrust, manipulation, fear, perception, and rejection.
Mm. That's some powerful stuff right there, because especially it's one thing, the rejection. um
Yeah, we used to that.
yeah, it's one of those things that they, no matter what. That's what I told one of my senior marketing directors, senior executives said to me. I said, I know what it's like to be a white male in this society because it's all around me. But you don't know what it's like to be a black woman and what we have to deal with. You come up with your ideas of who we are, but we're not that. You know, that was in a discussion of someone telling me, a white male telling me that black women aren't concerned about financial literacy or investments because they're in the home by themselves with no one there and no one to help them to raise their children. And I was speaking to the state representative, and she said, yeah, but did they ever talk about the system that caused it? You know, it was a time when
Yeah.
social services, you had to tell the man to get out of the house so that y'all could get things done, when other cultures were allowed. Like what's happening right now, there are medical services and medical care and welfare given to a lot of these people who are called refugees, and they're able to stay together and be at home with each other, and the husband or the wife is able to stay. That's not how it comes in our community. And got a lot of problems with that, but I always believe we can take care of our own, and it's time for us to do that.
That's why I think it's so important for the financial literature. It's not there just because, it's there for a reason, because our community been suffering for not knowing how to manage, not knowing the value of money. Because when we get it, it's we giving it to another culture,
That's it.
and we how we growing. Like one 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 part of my program is called the Urban Male Initiative. The Urban Male
Yes.
Initiative, I get all of the state reps, entrepreneurs, religious leaders, guy who was incarcerated, and the kids, and we'll try to bring some resolvements to the community with our own hands.
Mm.
And one of our goals is to get rid of one of these dollar stores and substitute it with a Whole Food store.
Oh,
You know,
awesome.
Dr. Anderson. Dr. Cole Anderson. I went down
Mhm.
there. He sent me out there to come sit down when I first came home. I told him that only when I was incarcerated, I just read his books and all of that. He sent for me out there in Maryland, and he would just told me, the importance of know how to bring to my community the importance of knowing what they're doing with their money, because we don't know how to do that so good.
No, we don't know. We know how to spend money. We know how to make money. We know how to spend it, but we don't know how to make the money make for us.
And then
And
that just bring extra trauma. Not not
that's
having.
another trauma, definitely. Because I look at, just like I had the honor of receiving the award at the Black Wall Street for the Wall Street Pioneer. And one of the key factors of why I loved being there in Tulsa was the fact that there was 600 businesses that originally was part of Black Wall Street in Tulsa. And those businesses, the money did not leave the community. A dollar would stay in the community 3 to 5 years. Whereas today, the dollar doesn't last 40 minutes because it goes to other people who have businesses. And so that was one of the components, which is really our closing component with the financial literacy training, is entrepreneurship and giving examples to what you can do. How do you become an entrepreneur? There are now Harvard and Yale, all of these Ivy League colleges are now using entrepreneurship as really a designation and a course. So we have to do the same thing. We have to teach how to set up these businesses, mom and pop. Show even with the idea you have with the dollar stores, yeah, we can, but we don't even have to go to a major chain. We could honestly set up our own and set up some co-op buying, where we can group together and get a co-op. There are many communities right here in the Brooklyn area that have community buying. That's where the whole idea of Costco's came from. Why don't we do this for ourselves? Again, there's another thing that you mentioned in that trauma: trust. We have to learn to trust ourselves and trust each other. And I think that's what's missing. So on that trauma of trust, is that addressed by therapy, or how is it addressed? How is it?
So with the urban trauma, we go about this curriculum that was designed. You do one-on-ones with the counselor or the therapist, and they go over it so you can recognize. They got this curriculum, and this curriculum, when they ask you questions, you're the best expert of your own self. So when you answer it, we know where to address you at, and let you know where you need, special treatment at.
Okay. So there is a element of treatment to try to get it. I mean, this is something in our blood with all the stuff that happens. Now I'm thinking all the things that have happened, even in my life, and how do we come about with cleaning this out of our system? To me, it seems like it's going to take a pill and get a lobotomy, clean out our minds. But in your ways, it is done basically through therapy,
And awareness.
awareness.
No, a therapist and awareness. Yes.
Hmm. So the awareness, is it in like group sessions or?
Both group sessions and one-on-ones.
Okay. Okay. This is so, like I said, I know you've got some projects that are coming up, and that hopefully with the children's aspect, I'm really concerned about the children. But I remember years back, there was, and this is a long time ago, they used to have a program called Scared Straight.
So the care program that we have is it's not nowhere near the program Scared Straight, but the principles are like, you get up early in the morning, you have breakfast,
Mm-hmm.
you go through the program. It's not like that physical what the scare program is about, but it's about the psychological and emotion, so you can know how to deal with that. Because just because you get a job, it does not mean that you're not going to be faced with the same challenges.
That's true.
And when you look at your brother with this ill look, you're really looking at yourself in the mirror. And sometimes you just gotta get out the mirror and let somebody else look in there, so you could just embrace that. Like we came up a long way, but we still got a way to go. But there's still challenges that we need to address in order for us to grow as a nation, as a community. Now, I'm not naive. I know it doesn't take just somebody saying it and there you have it. It takes work, man. But I don't want script to be a program. I want it to be the program, because I think wherever you see an inner city at, I think it's needed for our inner city so we could go as one.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting to hear. Is that um, everything that succeeds, especially in this capitalistic society, has a system, and I'm looking at what you provide is a system that could be duplicated. Do you see that where script can be duplicated in other places and get the funding? Because that's the other part that's curious, that I have a little curiosity is, this is a system that wants to keep us in a certain position, but somehow you've made it so that they support what you do.
That's through the grace of God. I don't got no magic wand or nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm a great believer, and I believe it could be used with the same formula we have out here, and across this all across this planet. Um, I mean, because it's not none of that fluff stuff. I don't believe it's none of that fluff stuff. It's like I can't teach you about trauma. That's not my lane. So for them to support my vision, I get those who lane that is, contract with them and let them go ahead. And I'll be sitting down. I'm making sure they effective and engaged, because, um, you know, I want to make a difference. I don't want to be a program. I want to be the program. You understand?
Got it.
So
And
that's
so, if there are professionals who are out there that want to be engaged with you, how would they do that?
just all you gotta do is contact me, and we can sit down, roll our sleeves up at the table, and see how we can all clothe in that vision.
Hmm. Yeah, there's the script.com, script connect. That's it. Script connect. That's a mouthful. Okay. Scriptconnect.org.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because I'm sure there are people, I know in our community, especially, there are a lot of young people who say they want to be therapists, that they want to be social workers, they want to participate, but they don't have any place really to do that. And I think that maybe that could be something that once you get your template, you have your template, so it's just so that other people will learn how to work your template, and then be able to expand across, because like you said, it's through the grace of God, because I've seen what you've been able to do, and it's a miracle, in the sense that those doors are open. There are people who come in and really are getting assistance. And yeah, they got a little attitude here and there, but that's understood. It's not been a, easy life, but they're working it. They're really working it. And it's
as long as they come, not only for the food, but to participate, that's a big step.
so how does one find out? Do you go to the Department of Corrections and say, okay, we have this program once these people are released? Um,
Well, out here in Connecticut, I've been locked up for so long, 22 years in here. They all really know me. You understand what I'm saying? I was a pillar in prison, and So like today, we met and they letting us come in now. DOC starting the second week in January to provide our services in there because right now we got an 84%. Like I said,
That's
84% of
phenomenal.
guys remaining home and 64% of guys or girls remaining with their jobs.
That's a question I had too for you is that okay, so I witnessed these men, young men and women coming out, but I know when I asked the question about their family, I didn't ask for family, I asked for did they have children. Is there anything put together for the family? Because when someone gets incarcerated, it's not just them.
So me understanding about the family reunification, sometimes the girls, they got kids. So I don't give only them some type of resource. I give them resource for their kids as well. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Just like I say, I wanted to be a little different, man. Not enabling nobody, but extend myself as much as I can for them, so they can see the importance that once you show them we got trust in them, then sometimes that goes a long way. You know what I'm saying? And last thing I could say about the program is that I didn't mention that the program is based on a research that both Harvard and the Florida State University put. This is based on
mm,
a 5 key models of a success reentry,
mm.
and those 5 elements we have inside of SCRIP. Now we develop the curriculum. The curriculum is not going to be just facilitated by you just because you come home. That's not good enough. Like we let everybody, adjunct professors, licensed clinicians, EMDRs, and guys with lived experiences. That combined, and then that's how it's so successful.
Mm. Now, those that have been incarcerated for a while, I'm sure some of them do not have their degrees or whatever. Because I looked, you have a plethora of degrees and certifications. But is there something in the program to get them their certifications that they can at least, because
Right now, Goodwin University has partnered with us, so when the guys complete, it might not be this cohort, but definitely next cohort, they get like 3 to 6 credits
oh,
after they complete script. I mean, the SEND program.
okay. So that's another part of the program to get them to get their whatever the certification because it's so many different ones out here. I mean, as long as you can get the GED is one, but you need more. People look for more. They look for, like right now I tell people college education was nice, but it's still not to the level. There are people who are now getting graduate degrees, doctorate degrees. The key is also experience and internships. Are there any programs within SCRIP to set up for it like an internship where people
Yeah, right now we got UCAR and Eastern Connecticut that be sending me interns. And
okay,
that's why we move into a bigger location because everybody could be like comfortable and do. We just hope that we could continue on evolving and making an impact in our communities, especially for our kind.
got it. So we're coming close to the end. See, I told you it was going to be one of those that we was going to keep going. We got a few more minutes. I would love for you to talk to the audience and let them know what one special message that you want them to know about script.
That the carrot of script is deal with a lot of our history that hinder us from succeeding out here in this community. If we don't deal with this the trauma, PTSD, um is is more likely that we're gonna fail or do a handstand in quicksand. I just
Mm,
want to know that we work hard with the trauma part, and then when we give guys job, they can value it more than what they would have done without getting no type of trauma treatment.
Awesome. Well, definitely. I think that those of you who hear this program, check out SCRIP. Check out Edward Andrews and see what they're doing and see what you can do, because this gentleman is going to change our community step by step and bite by bite. And I'm on board with him because I believe that what he's doing is what should be all of our mission, is to free our community and be self-sufficient. And so I want to thank you, Mr. Andrew. I don't even know what to call. I just, it's like a brother from another mother. So I'm like, yo, Eddie. Then I say, wait a minute. I done got too comfortable.
No, that's what they call me in Connecticut. That stuff, you know what I'm saying? Underground joint. But I want to thank you and your whole team, because you didn't show nothing less than support when we first was introduced to one another. From a person who takes the time out and got the credentials that you have to come and drive from New York to Hartford, Connecticut twice a week, it's something, that stuck with me. Like I see what true support is and true love, you know what I'm saying? And I can't give it if I'm not receiving it. And the more that I receive it, the more we can just do it as a team and change some lives, which is needed.
For real. So thank you again for your time. I'm going to keep, and we're going to bring out some other ideas later on. We're at the close. So thank you so much for your time. This was Edward Andrews from SCRIP. Check them out and then support. And so to the audience, I hope you learned something today. How money works. Stop being a sucker. How money works for women. Can take control or lose it. And check out SCRIPs. So y'all have a good night. And thanks again for your time. And let's see what comes next in our world. Welcome to Access Wealth Nation. And thank you for your time.
Thank you.
She was told that she couldn't play with the boys. She was told that they were too big, too rough, too strong. She was told to give up her dreams and move on. She was told to just be pretty, be quiet, be a lady. She was told that women had to stay on their side of the court, stay in your lane. Playing and competing with men was insane. She was told that men and women would never be equal. Dreaming like that would only be linked to your mind, to your soul. She never listened. She knew that their thinking was old. She is magic. She is the definition of spirit. She is what champions are made of. She is